Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our continuing live coverage of the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships here on Bowl TV. Doubles qualifying Squad 1. Starting off with our opening game here. Brazil, Puerto Rico, Greece, and Turkey on the featured pairs. Pretty similar format to the singles event that we watched the last couple of days. We're going to have 4 squads of qualifying. And the top 4 scores after those 4 squads advance into the medal round. Of course, it's doubles, so you combine the 2 scores of the 2 players bowling together. Once again, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Greece, and Turkey on the featured pairs. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bowl TV. Matt Cannizzaro here as well as we get started for another long day of competition here at the Khalifa International Bowling Center at Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Got 3 squads today. This one just getting underway. We'll have Squad 2 starting at 1:30 here in the UAE, and Squad 2 starting at 6 p.m. UAE time. And we'll be on the air pretty much for the next 12 and a half hours, with the exception of the 2 oil breaks that we'll have throughout the day today. Live scoring is available along with the results updated after each game. You can click the link under the video you're watching, and that will take you to the page that has the live scoring and the results on it. And on that results page, you can also, if you click on doubles, you can see who is bowling on each squad, so that you can maybe follow along with how they do. You're watching live coverage of the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships doubles qualifying Squad 1 here. I just ran out to make sure that they turn on the live scoring, which seems to be working now, so you should be able to see any of the lanes, the scoreboards in the Khalifa Bowling Center. So that should be working good now. And as for the lane assignments, they are working on that right now, and hopefully that should be up on the site relatively soon. We're just in our first game here in the doubles qualifying squad 1. Puerto Rico, Brazil, Turkey, and Greece starting things off for us. Don't seem to have particularly high scores on our featured pairs, although the rumor we're hearing this morning is that the scoring pace should be a little bit higher in the doubles event than it was in the singles, but we'll wait and see on that. And as for the lane pattern we're bowling on, it is the Matt Cannizzaro.
Yep, doubles is being contested on the 38-foot Atlanta pattern. So we saw the 43-foot Tokyo, the long pattern, in singles, and now switching gears a little bit to something a little bit shorter and, as you said, potentially higher scoring. And as with all of these international events, the bowlers find out once they get to town what the two patterns are going to be. Could be short and long, could be medium and short, any combination. And this week it's going to be a long and a medium. And then, of course, moving forward to trios and team, they'll bowl 3 games on each pattern. So a little bit of excitement there. Of course, a test of versatility, and you're only allowed to have 6 bowling balls. So it's up to you and the coaches to find the right combination and be versatile enough to change your ball surfaces and hand positions to combat both patterns. And a very tricky thing to do when you leave home not knowing what patterns you're going to face. Just you know it's going to be 2 of the 12 in the World Bowling Pattern Bank. And then you have the official practice day to figure things out. But one of the cool things about international competition is that you have the option to adjust your ball surfaces in between games. So if you don't quite have the look you're looking for, or want to get things freshened back up before the next game, you have that chance to grab the Aberlon pad and change things up a little bit and help you stay in the game. And of course, the great equalizer, all the best players in the world here, and some maybe not as fortunate equipment-wise, but having 6 balls apiece certainly evens the playing field and makes things very interesting. So again, 38-foot Atlanta pattern here in doubles over the next 2 days, and then we'll switch gears again and see both patterns in trios coming up in just a couple days.
All right, so there's the update from Matt Cannizzaro, and trust me, you can trust him even though he's left-handed. He's still a trustworthy source of information. We're just underway here in the doubles event. Got a long day of bowling for you here on Bowl TV. So I have a total of 18 games spread out over the 3 squads. This is just the first game. I can tell a lot of Australians are watching because the most popular lane on the live scoring is the Australians. So we know that our Australian friends are watching live streaming, and that makes sense based on the time zone. It's a little early in Europe, and it's just after midnight in the United States. So most of our Australian friends are making up our audience this morning. So hello to those of you in Australia. Looks like our singles gold medalist is bowling on this squad. Dan McClellan bowling with Francois Lavoie. Also Bill O'Neill bowling with Mike Fagan this morning for Team USA.
Lucas, you mentioned Dan McClelland, our singles gold medalist. We certainly had a an exciting finish to the first couple days of competition here in Abu Dhabi, and nearly had a national hero emerge on the lanes here at Zayed Sports City. Shakir Al Hassan, the local favorite, ended up with the silver medal, falling to McClelland in the championship match, and I couldn't imagine the pressure that he must have felt. Again, the UAE, only 3 bronze medals in history, so once he made it to that championship match, it already was the best performance for his country, and to do it on his home soil, I believe he could have been a national hero, and I know he was very excited with his overall performance, and a little disappointed at the same time, but still a long way to go. As Dane McClelland said, winning the first event, always great for the confidence, and hopefully can only snowball from there. So 4 very fortunate folks yesterday taking home medals in singles, but now it's time to focus on, I think, the tasks at hand. And Mike Fagan said it on his Twitter the other day when he didn't perform quite as well as he'd hoped in singles, that he's just saving it for the events that aren't individual. And I think a lot of players feel that way, and we'll see that today. A little more excitement maybe, and certainly the camaraderie at this level, unbeatable. If you are curious about the lane conditions that we're going to see this week, again, 43-foot Tokyo and 38-foot Atlanta, you can find all of those at worldbowling.org. So just click on the regulations tab at the top of the page, and you'll see a drop down. Just pick the lane patterns, and you can see a graph for all of the lane conditions used by World Bowling. And if you want to bowl on what these folks are bowling on, certainly talk to your local bowling center. Get out there and make good shots, make your spares, and who knows, you could be here next time.
Looks like the lane assignments have been posted now, so you can take a look to see when your favorite team or bowler is going to be on the featured pairs. Looks like our singles gold medalist, Dan McClelland, is going to skip over us today. So we won't get to see Dan or his Canadian teammate, Francois. We will see the United States, Bill O'Neill, Mike Fagan, in Game 5 today. Going to be on lane 9 for Game 5. And our singles silver medalist, Shakir Al-Hassan, is bowling on this squad, and we will have him on for Game 6. And again, all the lane assignments now posted for this squad on the official results page on worldbowling.org. Finishing up our first game in Squad 1 of the doubles qualify. Doesn't look like we are going to have any of these teams surpass the 400 barrier. Team USA, O'Neill and Fagan can shoot 465 first game if Fagan strikes out. It looks like Belgium can shoot about 450 or so. Finland with a 493 to start. Jonas Jankinen with 279. Kimmo Lentinen with 214. But we'll give you an update on all the standings once this first game wraps up across the bowling center. Brazil finishes with 350. Puerto Rico 391. Turkey with a max score of 383. Greece looking at a max score of 390 as they close out this first game here on the live streaming pairs.
All right, folks, it's only 9:30 a.m. We're in game 2 of 18 today, but we've already achieved the highlight of the day. We're joined now by international star Tim Mack.
9:30? Is it really 9:30 in the morning?
Yeah, that's it.
It's pretty early.
Got about 12 hours to go.
I wonder if anybody's up in America right now. It must be on the West Coast, I would think, right?
There's still some folks. They're chatting with us via Twitter and instant message. And
I would think the people on the West Coast might be up, so that would be nice.
So numbers are good. It's early still.
Should be interesting to see what happens today with the 38-foot oil pattern mat. I mean, we've got a lefty on our team, Team Bermuda, who I've been working with for a little bit of time this year, since June of this year. Our lefty looked really good in this pattern, so I thought if guys had two lefties on their team, they might have a pretty good advantage on this, just because of the way the lane breaks down, and their looked really good going across the house in the practice session. So that's something that we have to watch as we move forward here. And I know the team from Finland bowled really good the first game. They had 279, 214, and they're paired up with two lefties. So.
Well, we're just talking about equipment a little bit. I know some folks walking up and down the lane, scouting things out, trying to figure out what,
including myself,
what's working, and it's a little bit more challenging for us here at least. So many international releases and different options out there, and it's just trying to see from where we are. Some balls very distinguishable. There's some urethane options going down the lane right now. A storm pitch black or a hammered burgundy hammer on the shorter pattern. Easy to see from here, but other stuff a little bit challenging. I know folks at home want to know, and of course
there's a lot of different balls going down the lanes right now. I mean you see some teams using really strong balls, strong reactive, and then you see some people using the old strong non-flaring urethane. Your blue hammers and even a Cobra. There's a plethora of options that are being thrown down the lane right now. I still think you got to execute and have you, especially on Pro-Am lane and then the GSX 90 machines. I just think on Pro-Am lane, speed control, anybody who controls their speed usually has an advantage on this surface. So the guys that are able to control their speed and angles the best are the guys that are going to bowl the best, and the teams that are going to bowl the best. And we saw that yesterday in the singles, where the squad actually started pretty far to the right and broke the lanes down quite well. And going into the last game, the top four could potentially have come off that last squad. So a lot of it's going to determine on how much urethane is used during the squad, more so on the right side of the lane than the left side of the lane, to determine I think what the scoring pace is. So that's something as you guys are here in the back, you'll be able to watch that as it transpires during the course of today and see if you see that, because if the urethane goes down the lane and creates that hold spot, you could see the scores go up a little bit if guys stay to the right.
Well, and so many factors come into play, of course. All the different equipment, the different countries and what's available to them, the different styles, so many styles from around the world. And, of course, it always comes down to, who you're bowling with, how they break them down, like you said.
Sure.
I think the folks in the singles, over 2 days, you learn a little bit, you take notes, and then you said the last squad play a little bit farther right, and, of course, that changes the way the lanes break down and transition.
No doubt.
So you'd almost expect, of course, the final squad to potentially be a little bit higher, just based on what people have learned over the 2 days.
Yeah. Also, you see sometimes teams want to put some of their there's different strategies involved in this event, which is really unique if you're here to watch it, because some teams will put what they feel is their strongest team on that final day, because they're not afraid to go out a number if a number has been posted, to go take that number down. And then you'll have some strategies be a little bit different, where teams want to go out and post a number. For me as a bowler, I always wanted to know what I needed. I didn't want to sit and have someone not have it in my we call it ball in hand. I didn't want to see someone control my destiny. I would rather be in control of my own destiny, and if I bowled good enough and bowled high enough, then I would win. So, but some other people they like to do it differently, and some teams are strong enough where the 6 players are so good it doesn't matter who you send out for the morning or who you send off last. So There's a number of different options that could be used out there. So back to your point, you get all that information, you give it to the team that comes in on that final day, and hence you're going to have some good scoring. Now, I think the 38-foot pattern is going to, the scoring pace should be a little bit lower. It actually should be a little bit lower, but then again, World Championships, you got a lot of world-class players out there. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Well, I just, as a coach, as a player coming in, you know the pattern, you look at the graph. 43 feet might dictate you're going to be a little bit farther inside to start. 38 feet, you're going to migrate towards the outside part of the lane.
Sure.
But for your team as a coach, what is your basic strategy coming in?
Well, one thing is you really got to know who you're following and know what they're doing. So, the way the lanes break down in today's game is so vital. In a 6-game sprint, you really can't afford to give away a lot of shots. So you have to kind of stay on top of your moves and stay on top of who you're following and what they're using and where they're playing on the lane. But strategy-wise for me, you hit the nail on the button. Typically, the longer patterns you want to play your break point is a little bit closer to the pocket, and your shorter patterns, the break point is further right on the lane. So if you can keep that generalization open and attack the lane properly with your angles and your speed and getting the right balls, things usually are going to happen good for your team. With that being said, you still have to execute out there. You still have to put the speed, angle, and ball speed control like I said, are paramount on this surface. So if you control those factors, good things happen. Good things are going to happen for your scoring pace. And I got to be honest with you, in a 6-game block, you can't really afford to miss spares. You can't afford to miss it. Our team struggled a little bit with their spare shooting, but I think some of that's mental and just sometimes it compounds. You have an open, and then all of a sudden you're worried. The next shot when you miss 2 in a row. All of a sudden you're thinking about it instead of just going through the natural progression of knocking that spare down. So I think we'll see some good scores today, but I think it's paramount that you really can't give away any pins in this format because it's such a quick 6 games. You think you train so long and you wait so long to do it, but then it's over before you know it. We're already done with the singles. So
well, certainly a 6-game sprint in each event, and you don't think that's that grueling for you, but certainly mentally and physically exhausting. 6 games over however many hours, and then you have to sweat it out and wait. You put up a number and just hope over 2 days that you can make a move there. And of course, the big picture also, every single pin counts towards all events. So
sure. And the Masters as well. We're
not necessarily here for individual reasons, but the top 24 will advance to Masters competition, and of course, bronze, silver, and gold medals in all events. So grab every pin you can along the way. And now it looks like the standings are updated. See if we can get them online here first.
Yeah, I just took a peek up at the board, Matt, and the Finnish team of the lefties with Joonas Jekinen and Kimmo Lehtinen got off to a really good start with 493, and the Team USA is off to a really good start with 455, and then right behind them is the local team here, Shakir Al Hassan and Knife. The two lefties themselves also have 455. So early we see the left. The left is playing quite well, but we'll see what happens.
Well, and we kind of heard the same yesterday. Believe it or not, there was some talk when Shakir made his run into the top 4 for singles. Really the only lefty around the cut at that point, and everybody said, well, the left side is going to play well. What are we going to do to combat that the rest of the week? And now similar conversation again here early in doubles.
Sure.
But at what point do you not let that get in your head? I guess a little bit too.
I don't think you can control it. It's a factor that you can't control. If you have a lefty on your team, good for you. If you don't, unfortunately, it's unfortunate for you. But it's not like they're not playable on the right. There's plenty of scores that come off the right, and I counted yesterday. You had 10 scores from 10 scores 60 over or better on the left side of the lane, and that was in 60th position. I believe, or maybe even a little further down the line, maybe 80th position. I'm not sure if I had to look at the scores again, but I know our lefty was the 10th best lefty at 60 over. There's a lot of righties in there.
Well, and
So
you get to,
you know what I mean?
that longer pattern too, and the righties start getting left, and then you start
Sure.
crisscrossing, and so it gets interesting for sure. And then with the team event and a little bit more traffic, who knows? And
I think Kegel's done a good job this week.
Certainly,
I think the patterns are both challenging for both sides of the lane.
And the Kegel Ice Oil, of course, changes the game a little bit compared to years ago even. The ice designed to hold up longer, transition a little bit less, so the moves are less frequent. Whereas yesterday, we might have seen it the end of Game 3, early Game 4. That's when the transition started. If you try to anticipate that, it's going to be a half a game to a game later than it would have been before. We see that at the Open Championships too. Teams expect to move at a certain point in the 3 games, and it just delays it. So you get tricked a little bit.
No doubt.
So many factors and so much knowledge. Guys like you coaching teams, walking up and down the bowling lanes for the whole 18 games, really taking notes the whole way. I'm sure you're.
I've got a little notepad. I've taken notes, and then you couple what you just said, man. And your points that you touched on were so poignant and so meaningful for the success in this event. But then you got to couple that with the pairs. The pairs playing different. Topography issues are a variable in every bowling center in the world, and some pairs just play different than other pairs. Even they can be oiled exactly. They're oiled exactly the same, but the pairs just play different, and that's just the way it is. And it's key to stay on top of those, on top of all of that information, and try to then utilize it to your player, and then have your player go out and execute the proper shots. I think you got the scores pulled up in front of you there. What do you see so far?
Yeah, we finally we got the live update here at worldbowling.org, and as we mentioned, Finland, the 2 lefties on top, 493, 279 and 214. Terrific start there. Malaysia in second place at 460, and the locals UAE at 455, tied with Team USA's Bill O'Neill and Mike Fagan at 455.
And the first 5 guys and the first 5 teams, every single player has a lefty on their team except the USA. But the USA scored right with them, 455, and there's some good scores out there. And I think both sides of the lane are going to play really well today. I just think transition-wise, as you said earlier, the lefties are going to have a little less transition, obviously, on their side of the lane. They have less traffic. Let's see if it holds up. It may not. So that's why we play the game, and that's why we play the tournament. So,
well, of course, the best in the world. You're watching the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. This is Matt Cannizzaro alongside international sensation Tim Mack here
Matt.
this week, coaching Bermuda. And right now, keeping an eye on things, taking notes. And again, Tim, we talked a little bit earlier just about the equipment selection, such a crucial part. You leave home, you don't know exactly what you're going to face. You know that there's 12 patterns to choose from. You don't find out till opening day what those are going to be, and then only 6 balls allowed. Of course, a lot of us are used to going to a tournament where you bring in 6 or 8, you have 4 or 5 more in the car.
That's right.
You can always run out there. Not so much here. Well, how do you get your team ready for something like this when it's such a limited opportunity there?
Yeah, it's a great question, Matt. And I think the one thing you have to do is you have to choose balls that have the biggest windows. When I say window, they give you the biggest margin for to utilize on the block of patterns that we're choosing. So you've got to, and then you've got to try to manipulate it with ball surface, speed adjustments, and what have you. If your player is capable of doing those things, so there's a lot of information out there that you have to utilize to get your players in the best possible position to perform at their peak. And if you're able to put all of these factors together and execute the shots, those are the guys that are going to have the most success. So the way I attacked it is I tried to get balls that are going to give these guys a myriad of options with one ball, where they can, even if we had to use one ball of the short, we could, also probably use it on the, when I say medium and short, I meant medium. Use it on medium, you can also probably use it on the long pattern. So I tried to choose balls that are going to give these guys the biggest windows, and that's that's the term that I use, the biggest window. So that they feel more comfortable and don't feel trapped in a box like they don't have an option to utilize something else. So that was my thinking when I tried to prepare the Bermuda team. So that's what we're going to go with, and most of the teams that did that that I think give their players the biggest opportunity per ball. Are going to have the most options, and then obviously versatility comes into play. What can your player do? What can't they do? Everybody has strengths and weaknesses as a player, so you've got to be able to put the player in their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. And if you do that, then it's up to the player because you still got to throw it.
Well, folks, right now you're watching Greece, Iraq, Puerto Rico, and Bahrain here on our featured pairs. It's a beautiful 40-lane facility here at the Zayed Sports City, and it's got the bright lights, the high ceilings, the convention center feel to it. Definitely a championship atmosphere here in Abu Dhabi. And right now we're behind lanes 9 through 12. We'll be here all week long. And we went through singles already. Now we're watching doubles. Trios coming up later in the week, followed by team and then masters competition to wrap things up. So a lot of excitement here. And also, just being that we're stationary behind these two pairs of lanes, we have the option to use the live scoring throughout the bowling center. You do as well at worldbowling.org. Just click on the live scoring link. And Tim's actually looking at it right now. We're watching another pair of lanes. It looks like 25 and 26. The left is from Finland. And Tim, what's happening down there?
They're off to a great start again in game two. Kimo's got spare 4-bagger, and Jonas Jekinen has got spare 3-bagger. So they're off to a really good start. And actually, they're world-class bowlers too. So they were one of my picks to make the top 4 when I saw that the pairings went out today. I kind of thought Finland would go that way. I'm really good friends with Pasi Utila and Jussi Turtinen, who are working this week and with the national team. Pasi is obviously a great player in his own right. He's coming off a gold medal in the 5-man team last year, but has decided that he's done with the national team, and to have a guy like that behind you is a huge asset. So he told me that they were going to go in that direction. And I thought that they would have a pretty good chance of putting up a number, but it's early, but it looks like they're off to a really good start.
Well, don't be fooled, folks. And while some of these players have made their way over to the United States and bowl on the PBA Tour, there are many, many great players around the world. And these guys certainly are very familiar names on the international scene. And this is a great opportunity to see what the bowling talent is around the world and familiarize yourself with some of those names. No doubt you're going to hear them throughout the week and in the future. Again, Finland, the defending team champions here at the World Championships. That was a huge win for them, taking down Team USA after 3 consecutive wins for the United States. Yeah,
I was there. It was an amazing match. I was there last year, and it was just the last 2 World Championships on the men's side. The match in Germany that went down to the last ball, Tommy Jones striking, and then the match last year with and it was Finland, USA, back-to-back years. It's just amazing drama, amazing theater for any fan of sport to watch. It's just it's something to be said. You made a good point earlier, Matt, and I just want to touch on it because it's something that I've dealt with in my career as an international player. I traveled, obviously, for those of you who don't know, and the ones that do, I traveled around the world extensively since 1996, trying to promote the game and make the game a much better place to play worldwide and bring everybody closer together and, try to do my role in that. And I bowled against a lot of these great players for almost 2 decades now. As I start to wind up my career, slow down, at least not wind up, but slow my career down and work on other things. There's been great players for a long time in a lot of these countries that a lot of our American public didn't know about, and now the world is getting closer together, and the education for these players, that next tier guys, the talent pool continues to grow internationally. We see it in America in our college system with a lot of Latin American women traveling into our country and bowling. So we're starting to see that more on American home soil, and also in the World Series of Bowling. the last couple of years. You got to remember, Dominic Barrett didn't learn how to bowl in America. Stuart Williams didn't learn how to bowl in America. Oscar Palermo didn't learn how to bowl in America. Mika Koivuniemen didn't learn how to bowl in America. These guys, those are just some of the great names. And the list is quite long that you can list about the talent pool that the rest of the world has.
Well, there's really a lot more opportunities too to travel and bowl. Again, you mentioned collegiate bowling, certainly.
Sure.
A lot of international players chasing down the education as well as the bowling side of things, and of course now the World Bowling Tour really changing things. Travel becoming a lot easier, technology helping things out, and a lot of players have the motivation, and of course it's a lot more lucrative even to travel the world and get to bowl. And you're seeing that more and more. A lot of events, a lot of international focus. Of course, the big goal, getting bowling in the Olympics. Right now, you're kind of watching the Olympics. It's the World Championships. This is about as close as it's going to get right now. But that effort continuing. Kevin Dornberger and the World Bowling are really pushing to make that happen in the future years. So, but right now, 272 players from 49 countries represented. Certainly a world-class event and the biggest stage in bowling. We appreciate everybody joining us. This is Matt Canizaro and Tim Mack live at the 2014 World Men's Championships.
I got to say something, Matt. You and Lucas have done a fantastic job on the Bowl TV and the productions you guys have done at the USBC Championships and just some of these international events. It's you've really brought bowling closer to home to the people that don't have an opportunity to see it. And you and Lucas bring a great perspective and a great opinion and a great source of energy into bowling to bring bowling into people's living rooms that are that work 10, 12, 15, sometimes 20,000 miles away. And hats off to you, and hats off to Lucas and the USBC for allowing this to happen and giving you guys the means to do that, because these types of things are the things that are going to help grow our sport. So all the USBC people down there, and Mr. Chad Murphy, who's a real good friend of mine, and all the delegates and all the people on the board, you really got to keep doing these things, guys, because it really helps our sport grow, and it really helps showcase our sport to the masses worldwide. And you got two really good people in Lucas and Matt that are doing a fantastic job, that are really, really doing the right things for bowling. So I just want to take a personal thanks as a friend of mine and also as a viewer for you guys to, continued success in what you guys are doing, and hopefully the USBC will continue to support you guys, because I think it's a huge thing for the growth of bowling. So hats off to you guys. Well done for that.
Well, Tim, certainly do appreciate the kind words, and it's certainly our pleasure to be able to travel and I mean, we're here learning every day. Again, Lucas has been at this a while, and they finally let me out of the United States a couple times here, and enjoying every minute of it, seeing bowling as it is across the world, and meeting players, and both online and in person. And of course, you can see by the numbers, everybody tuning in and watching their favorite players and favorite countries around the world. It's very humbling.
Appreciate everybody in on the chat too. You guys that are staying up late and watching your favorites. Bring any questions or comments you guys come in. We'll try to answer them as they come along. So I've been fortunate to do some of these live web chats before, and whether it's been with the PBA or with Lucas at the Youth Championships in Finland. So we always appreciate the insight from the people that are watching, because you guys are the ones that make it happen. If we don't have any viewers, we can't put a production up together.
And certainly we're going to be here for about 12 and a half hours today, 18 games of competition. You can see what's happening on the lane, so we utilize the chat room and, of course, our Twitter feed this week as an opportunity to hear from all the viewers. You can give a shout-out to your favorite players. You can ask questions or just give your thoughts on what's happening here at the World Championships. And we do spend a lot of time watching that. Again, the Twitter hashtag this week is 2014 WBMC. 2014 WBMC. Drop us a note, and if you have any questions, certainly let us know. Tim will be here in the booth for a little bit, and Lucas will be back shortly. And certainly reach out to us and enjoy the coverage from the World Championships.
I got this guy, Firelight Films, who's wrote in on the chat. He says David Porto is killing it. He's got the front five. David's really nice kid, young left-handed kid from Australia. I had the fortunate opportunity to have dinner with him, the Australian team, last night, and he's off to a really good start. Yeah, he's bowled 220 the first game, front five this game, which is you're right. It's nice to see. A couple people asking me when I'm coming back to Oz. I hope it's sooner than later, guys. I missed Australia. It's a great country, and the number one player in the world right now is from Australia, who's a really good friend of mine, Jason Belmonte. So, I've got a lot of people down there that I really always had. Talk about a welcoming country, and talk about people that really are passionate about sport, and just a great place to go. Australia is one. Matt, if you ever get a chance, you got to get on a plane and go to Australia, because it's just an amazing, amazing place. So, nothing but good people down there. A lot of great bowlers. I mean, it's the same size as America almost, but it's only 22 or 23 million people. So there's a lot of space.
I'm certainly trying to spread my wings a little bit, and I was disappointed to find out only a week ago that I could have come out here a few days early. There was an event in Qatar, and then there was one in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Could have seen a little bit firsthand what the bowling world is like. Be out there to compete against some different folks. Missed that opportunity. Certainly, I'll keep an eye out for the next one, and
sure,
follow Tim Mack on Facebook and know
you kind of know where they're at. Buddy of mine, George Ferlingo, says the Finnish guys are still striking. He chums in on the chat board. Yeah, he's right, George. Kimmo Lettinen's got a seven bagger, and Jonas Jekinen's working on 230, possible 230. So the lefty guys are striking right now. But listen, guys, they're striking on the right as well too. So let's kind of as Matt said earlier, transition, and let's see how things play out and see what transpires. It's going to be a long day. These are long, long, long days. My team's not even bowling. I'm here because I'm trying to gather some information to, to put my team in the best possible position. But these are long days, guys. Long days in the bowling centers, and there's a lot of bowling that needs to be done.
Well, we saw in singles too. Of course, you get 10 minutes of practice on your starting pair, and then your first game. First game average was pretty high for the singles event entirely, and things kind of tailed off a little bit as the day progressed. Again, you get to the transition, you get the breakdown. It just depends. And as the squads went on, of course, these scores went up because coaches and players were learning along the way.
Sure.
And figuring out what they needed to do to succeed. And then our last squad was the highest of the four, and that's just how it's going to be. But again, we'll see. The first game was decent, 493 on top, 460, 455 for the number right now.
I would think the pace would be a little bit, just a tad lower to make this final, to make the top four for the medal round. I would think, but. World-class bowlers, guys getting information, sharing information, utilizing that information, and then going out there and and executing on the lanes. The sky's the limit. But just experience-wise, this pattern will be a little bit. The transitional moves on the right side of the lane should be a little bit more difficult today.
Well, we saw it during the first squad of singles too. It got to that transition point where people got tricked a little bit. And struggled at a certain point, but next squad out, they made those moves, the corrections they anticipated, and that didn't happen. And then,
Correct.
Of course, so games 3 and 4 were much better on squad 2 than squad 1, but then they saw something else in game 6. So it looked like 4 or 5 guys at that point were going to make a move for the top 4, and then things kind of tailed off in game 6. Well, then we saw the next squad. The coaches and players, they figure out how do we anticipate what's going to happen at that point.
Right.
And then we talked to some of the players as they came by. Dan McClellan, perfect example. He was trying to anticipate, when is that going to happen? When do I need to make this move? Because a lot of times, you just have to guess. And you're either going to guess and you're going to look brilliant, or you're going to guess and you're going to fall on your face. It's one of those. You have to do it and do it with confidence and hope that it works out.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more, Matt. It's a great assessment of really what you have to go through over the course of the day, and you guys that make the changes, the quickest, and execute. Execution is still paramount. And you can get the right ball in your hand, you can play the right angle, but you still got to execute. I've coached and I've worked with done clinics all over the world and taught all over the world, and in today's game, unfortunately, people are always looking for that magic ball, that magic layout. But in the end of the day, you still have to execute. You have to ball speed control, ball surface, matching your angles, and the game at the highest level is still about execution. Still about execution. So, if it was that easy, we could just draw a line on every ball. Okay, here's the magic drilling that's going to make Jason Belmonte win the next 10 tournaments. Here's the magic drilling that's going to let Mika Koivuniemi be who he is. It doesn't work that way.
Well, certainly though, the first couple days of this event, the official practice session, and just you really are trying to match up. You're trying to get your right equipment, your right ball surface. You're trying to get the best line of the pocket. You are trying to do everything you can to get the ball to the hole. And then yesterday, Game 6 of the last squad, we saw a couple of mistakes, single pins. And you don't focus much on that the first couple of days, but certainly, that's very important, especially on these more challenging conditions. You can get to the pocket all day long if you can't make your spare when it counts. And we're all guilty of it. I've been there.
I've been there.
Again, we joke about it. If I could make a spare, I'd have a bigger house, which is true. But that's why we're back here and not out there also right now. But you have to focus on all of it. You can't worry about only getting to the pocket. And you're not going to strike every time, but certainly that is your goal. You have to give yourself a chance, and then you have to fall back on the fundamentals at that point and all the things that got you to the World Championships, and then be able to perform on the big stage.
So true, man. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, and that all those things, all those points you touched on are so true. The Finns are still striking here, guys. They have a potential 525 into the 10th frame, and maybe I should go play the lottery if they continue this pace up.
So Finland, always a strong team, of course, going back many years. Mika Koivuniemi, Asko Palermo. Last year, they won the team title at the World Championships in the Las Vegas area. If you're gonna watch anybody and take notes, that's certainly, no matter who's out there, a good choice of teams to stand behind. Right now, you're watching Iraq, Greece, Bahrain, and Puerto Rico finish up game number 2. We're going to have 6 games on each squad today. We'll have 4 squads of doubles, and then we'll break to the top 4 for the semifinals tomorrow afternoon. So a lot of excitement this week and today, and we're getting down to really the camaraderie of it, and we're going to see, I would think, a little more intensity as we get closer to the team event. I think that's the pinnacle. That's what everybody is here for. Everything else is great. It's very important, very special. But the team event, I think, is where it's at. And Tim, you might agree?
I think that I tell the players, and anytime I work with a team or a country in this event, the singles event is more the potluck event. And as each event goes, we have to gather information and gather knowledge to be ready to perform for the most important event in the tournament, which is the 5-man team. It's the most coveted title, I think, in this championship, because you're working together with all 5 guys, and you're working. It means more when you win something with somebody. It means more, and I just feel like when you can win something and share it with someone and go through that experience with someone, it is that much sweeter. So if the guys are able to correct the mistakes they made on day 1, gather information on day 2, because now you're seeing both patterns, start to make better moves, better decisions, clearer thoughts on day 3 when you're bowling the trios, so that when we get into the team event, the 5-man team, we should have a pretty good understanding and feel of what's going to happen and transpire. Now they're going to break down a little bit differently because you're going to have 5 on a lane, but you got to clean up the mistakes you made in the first part of the week, so that the ultimate goal is winning a medal for your country in the team event. That's the ultimate goal, and I've always felt that way. Whether I've worked in the SEA Games with countries, I worked with Indonesia in the SEA Games, I worked with Hong Kong, I've worked with Sweden. I've worked with Bahrain. I was fortunate to be there for a couple of years and had a great experience there. And we won a couple of team event medals for the first time in the history of their country. And it was the feeling of euphoria is unbelievable. So, now I'm with Bermuda, and they've never had a medal in the World Championships. So, the goal is to try to get one. And if we're able to do that, to do it together in the 5-man team would just be the ultimate goal.
Now, of course, you spent some time with Team USA, and there was a huge window of time, actually, from 1971 to 2006, where Team USA was unable to claim a team gold medal at the World Championships. And, of course, you were part of the team along the way. Looking right here at the results from the 2003 World Championships, where you guys came up just a little bit short there behind Sweden.
It was a fantastic experience.
Can you talk about the atmosphere just in an event like that as you're getting close and possibly making a run at the title?
Amazing experience. It was, I've had some great experiences in my life, Matt, in bowling, but the top 5 experience for me was the 2003 World Championships, bowling for my country, bowling for Team USA. I had bowled internationally around the world at that point in time, and won a number of open events, and finally had the opportunity to represent my country in the World Championships in the great host of country of Malaysia. They're really keen on bowling, and it was a men and women's World Championship, so it was a dual. We had both the men and the women there, so the atmosphere was great. The fan support was super great. The media was great, and I just remember that first event. I turned to Fred Borden. I had about 460 for the first 2 games in singles. I turned to him. I said, "We're going to bowl 550 and we're going to win this gold medal." And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I shot 547 the last 2, and I only lost by 15. But then I bowled the doubles, and I was fortunate to have great teammates. Bill Hoffman, who's now the head coach of the Hong Kong national team, and a real good friend of mine, Dino Castillo. We were able to team together in the trios event. And we brought home the USA's first gold medal since, I believe it was 1987. So it was 16 years since the USA had won a gold medal in the World Championships, and I was part of that. And the feeling of that, the feeling of putting the gold around your neck and hearing the national anthem for the first time, as an American, first time, doing it for, with our country was in such a long period of time was amazing. The only disappointing thing then was, you go from euphoria to the team event, 5-man team, and we had a chance. And back then things were a little bit different. In this year, the first 3 games of team, the top teams then bowl together. In 2003, you were just assigned a squad, and whatever your squad was after the 6 games is what your score was. And it was us and Sweden battling it out, and we ended up taking the silver medal, and Sweden ended up winning the gold. They had a fantastic final day, but we had the earlier squad that morning, and it would have been nice.
You can stand over there. I'm on the live streaming.
Jerry Verbruggen chopping in. Oh, there he is. There he is, the former world champion right there, 1999 singles champion, Jerry Verbruggen. Getting on always a class guy and great bowler in his own right, here in the morning in the doubles. But back to my story, the 5-man team event was a little bit hard to swallow, pal, because I was going for the all events gold, and and more importantly, I was trying to win the 5-man team event with Team USA, and we had to go off in the morning and then come back at night and watch Sweden, bowl really good at night when we didn't bowl together. So now they've got that fixed. All the top teams are going to bowl together in that final 6-game block. But how about this? I would have bowled for the gold medal in the new format because we qualified second, and I would have had a chance at a gold medal. So if you look back in the last 3 events, you said that Team USA had won the last 3. Go look back and see how many times they were the number 1 seed. Not every time. Yeah, I think only one time.
A little different now. In the past, it was total pins that decided the medals, and now the top 4 qualify for the semifinals. Of course, the 2 semifinal winners for the gold medal. So, changing times, changing formats.
Absolutely. So that was the only thing for me, is that I would have had a chance to bowl for 5 gold medals. But and I also could have lost them too. Maybe I lost the trios gold medal as well. So things are different now, and I really like the changes that the organization has done with the fact that the teams all bowl together, because you want all the teams fighting at those last 3 games. And it creates an amazing atmosphere.
Well, certainly that's the excitement that you're looking for as a spectator sport. You want to generate.
Sure.
You want a reason for people to come to the bowling center and watch and cheer, and of course now we can bring that to you via live stream. But I think what I get from that story is that there's no feeling like standing at the top of the medal stand and hearing your national anthem, and that's why we're here, folks. You're watching the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships here in Abu Dhabi, the Zayed Sports City. We're getting ready for Game 3 of doubles coming right up here. Some folks already started, some just getting done with game number 2. And we're going to actually look at our Twitter feed right now. I know there's some good questions in there. Again, at hashtag 2014 WBMC. This is Matt Canizaro, joined by international star and Bermuda coach Tim Mack. And here's a couple questions for Tim.
Okay, we got James Koo here says, hey Tim, what's the biggest difference between PBA tourneys and international tourneys like these? Oh, James, it's a good question. I mean, the formats are different. And what you see in some of these tournaments here, James, is the fact that, the top of the top, you have the best of the best in each country's bowling. But then you also have some other countries that are developing, that are starting to move forward, and they're trying to, to get their feet wet. So what you see is some of the breakdowns are a little bit different, because in the professional tournaments, usually guys kind of know where they want to play the patterns and break down the lanes, and you can kind of, you can't really guess the transitions, but they're a little bit more, let's just say they're a little bit more consistent. There he is, Jerry Verbruggen. In our Twitter feed, there's a great photo of Jerry Verbruggen on our Twitter feed. Sorry, James, but back to your question. It's you see the transitional changes on the PBA. You kind of know which patterns are which way you're going to migrate to. Here, with a lot of balls and a lot of different styles of bowling, there's a lot of changes, and you got to stay on top of those changes. So, and the formats are shorter, so it makes it a little bit more challenging, to come through in the thick of things. But it's a great question though, and we'll see what happens as the lanes break down, and as teams get on them. If they, like Matt said earlier, if they gather information and they're able to use that information, that's going to give these guys the opportunity to have the success in the later squads. So that's basically what I see, James. And also the seriousness. There's a lot more camaraderie amongst these events, and there's a lot more, I don't know, I don't want to say the atmosphere. I just think the atmosphere is a more, it's different. It's a different atmosphere. I don't know how to explain it other than to just say it's different, and you kind of have to be here and see it to experience it.
Well, I mean, you've got the national pride, of course, knowing there's an entire country at home, watching and hoping for your success, and it's like college bowling. There's nothing like that team atmosphere, and having 4 or 5 guys behind you every time you throw a shot, knowing that whether you fail or succeed, it's as a team, and just the excitement there. And we see it especially on the ladies' side at events like this. The volume is just unbelievable, and I imagine we'll probably see a little bit more of that as we get down towards the team event. But an unmatched excitement, and knowing that those folks are behind you, not only literally, but an entire country at home, it's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Couldn't agree with you more. Just kind of waiting for the second game to be updated here with the scores. Maybe we see any other questions in the Twitter feed and take a peek and see what we got.
All right, well, Game 3 is underway. We've got Australia and Costa Rica, Philippines, and Belgium. And again, stepping up on lane 12, we do have a past world champion. So we've got so many great players, and spanning the decades even. It's been a few years here, and we get a chance to look at a top left-hander now as well. So a lot of diversity and versatility here, and different styles from around the world. We've got the lefties, the righties, we've got spinners, we've got two-handers, a little bit of everything represented here at the World Championships.
you just made notion to the Jerry Verbruggen from Belgium, off to a great start here. Former world champion in this building. He won the singles in 1999, the gold for Belgium. He's got a really nice plus 86 for his first 2 games, and Jean-Marc Saman is plus 9. So they've got a really nice score going early here at 95 over for 2 games. Jerry always a character. He's just such a pleasure to be around. Good friend of mine. Great bowler. Tough competitor. I mean, tough as nails. So, as you said, world-class bowlers everywhere. Great environment here. What a fantastic environment. What a great place to hold an event, huh? How about this weather in December?
It's certainly, again, world-class all across the city. Very welcoming from the minute you step off the plane. And I've now had a chance to be in Hong Kong for the World Youth Championships, and now here
wow,
in
you're
Abu
lucky.
Dhabi for the World Men's event. And the women's event will be held here actually in November, I believe, of 2015. And it's been since 1999, and you really can't beat this facility, certainly.
No, I think it's a great, it's a perfect venue to have a world championship. It's a great place for people to watch. Abu Dhabi's a great city. I got to thank a really good friend of mine, president of the UAE Bowling Federation, Mohammed Khalifa Al Khabaisi, a world champion himself, a fantastic bowler who's been such a gracious host to us and all the countries that are here this week, these 2 weeks. And you guys, USBC, and Matt and Lucas for being able to have the live streaming. So, such gracious hosts and such an amazing place to watch. To have this tournament. So I think we're lucky in that regard. We really are.
Well, I think we talked a lot in Hong Kong just about for these bowlers, for many. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime experience,
Yes.
and they do only bowl 6 games a day, so that leaves a lot of free time to get out and enjoy a place that they may not otherwise get to go to in their lives, and to really enjoy the culture and the food, and just being a part of a different place entirely. I know, some bowlers might have bowled singles, 2 days ago, didn't have anything to do yesterday. Maybe don't bowl doubles till tomorrow. There's 2 more days to get out and see what Abu Dhabi has to offer. Maybe get over to Dubai.
Sure.
And really take advantage of the World Championships, not only as an event but as an experience. And it's not so much the same for us, just because we're here for every squad. But you certainly have to take advantage of being able to see the world and represent your country. I know you've been able to do that.
I've been lucky
Personally and with Team USA. Do you have a favorite place that you've been?
I do, actually. The 2 places the one place that means the most to me, and it's because it changed my career, is Singapore. I went. That was the first time I ever left my country. Was there, and they embraced me quite well, and I was able to kind of change my ideology and my thought process about which direction I wanted to take my career. And then I mentioned it earlier. I really love Australia, and I love going up to Europe. And my special places in Europe are, I love being in England, and I love being in Sweden and in those countries in the Nordic area. I like Finland. There's a lot of really good places around the world to go, and but Southeast Asia means a lot to me. Singapore, Malaysia, those countries that embraced me when I first started my travel, and they really embraced bowling down there. I'm forever indebted to those people. So.
All right, so my goal now for 2015 and 2016 is to save up my vacation days and travel the world bowling with Tim Mack.
You won't be disappointed at going to some of these places. I mean, it's amazing.
All right, folks. Well, you're watching the 2014 World Men's Championships, and we've got standings through 2 games here in the doubles event. Again, the pair of left-handers from Finland, and they are on top at 973, 493, and 480. A 279 game, and they've alternated. They're sharing the weight here in the doubles event. Of course, that's what team events all about, is picking each other up and doing a great job of that. 973. Belgium now. You're watching them here on lanes 11 and 12. In second place at 895. In third place, Malaysia holding strong at 888. And in fourth place, Colombia, 872.
Right. If you look at what we talked about earlier, we've touched base on this. First 3 teams all have a lefty on their team right now, so But it's early. It's early. Transition-wise, they could blow open the last 3 games, and then you could see the right scores go through the roof with some of the urethane that's going down on the lane. So this is where it's paramount that you talked about earlier, Matt, about gathering all this information and watching transition, and then hopefully those guesses or those moves you've got a little bit more to go by, and you can make the proper decisions.
Well, and that's another interesting thing about this international competition. You don't know what patterns you're going to see when you leave home. So you don't only have to pack your equipment accordingly, but you have to select your bowlers too.
Correct.
Some players, some teams, they don't have left-handers, they don't have two-handers, and it's interesting. You may bring a lefty and left side doesn't have a look, and then what do? Then you're a little bit of trouble. Or you don't bring one, you need one. There's so many factors that are involved, and you have all right-handers. Certainly they can communicate a little bit better and play together. You're not out there on an island by yourself. Again, just another part of the strategy. You mentioned that you do have some left-handed talent on your team.
I got a left-hander that's really good. Yeah, he was our highest player actually yesterday, and left a lot of pins out there. But he's not going to be bowling today. He's going on the final day. So I've got to try to get as much information from my team to make sure those guys are in good position.
Well, now as the coach, of course, you're sitting here, you're watching now Game 3. You're taking notes. Of course, you had ideas coming in. You had a strategy. And then that's probably going to change or possibly not, as you see things unfold here throughout the day. And being that you do have the lone lefty, of course, you have to help him come up with a game plan too.
Sure.
Have any of your ideas changed at all so far in 2.5 games?
Right now, I kind of like the picture that we've talked about earlier. I mean, he's got a high rev rate, and his ball likes to change direction, and because of his high rev rate, I think we're going to probably start with the natural Storm urethane natural that he brought over here, and then probably go to the IQ Tour Gold, IQ Tour Pearl, which was seemed to be the progression that we're going in. But let's see how it transitions over time. Right now the lefties that are bowling good are a little straighter than the left. My lefty. His name's Damian Matthews from Bermuda, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get him on the camera to see him throw it, because he really slings it. He reminds me of, you guys won't remember this, but his name's John Gant, real strong lefty PBA player that used to be called the Buzzsaw. He really gets on it. He's got a real high rev rate. His rev rate is close to like Jason Couch's. People that can relate to the Jason or even Ryan Seminelli. His rev rate's that kind of high. So game plan wise, no, I think we're probably still going to go the same route right now, but I'd like to see some transitional changes and see what happens.
Well, let's talk equipment one more time. I know a lot of people that watch bowling, they want to know what are those guys throwing? What's going down the lane? How's it drilled?
Right. Well, are my team or just in general?
In general, and then of course there's a possibility, for example, of that you're going to see a short pattern. So, some teams, you want to have a urethane ball in the bag, and in recent years, they may be a little harder to come by for certain places, certain countries around the world. And now, with Storm and Hammer coming out with modern urethane options, like legitimate, true, close to the old school reaction urethane. It seems to have evened the playing field a little bit there, more accessible to all the players. How has that changed things a little bit?
I think, it's a great point you mentioned there, Matt. I'm fortunate enough to have been involved with Storm for 20 years. I'm an employee of the company. I've been with their company for quite some time, and the new Storm Pitch Black. We felt the need, in bowling for a ball at competition. We make balls for the bowlers, and we felt like this is a hole that needed to be filled. The old urethane options were running out of play, so we came up with a R&D design of something that we thought that would be paramount in today's game. And I know the camera's not on him, but just to the right of Jerry Verbruggen on 13 and 14, you'll see the Malaysian team, and Sifik Ridwan, who's a World Cup champion. He's using the Pitch Black at the moment right now. And he's got spare 4-bagger game 3 with a nice 40 over start. But I think strong non-flaring urethane is the pitch black flares, but I don't want to get into numbers and RGs and differentials because people might start thinking, you don't want to confuse people. But the pitch black is a ball that is very, very versatile. You can use it on 33-foot patterns and you can use it on 43-foot patterns. But it's a very strong rolling, very controlled motion off the break point. And on these shorter patterns or lighter volume patterns, what you want is a pitch black or a urethane ball that is controlled off of it and continues to roll, that doesn't bleed out, that doesn't burn out, so that you can control the break point and get the necessary angles to strike as much as you can. The biggest problem on the shorter patterns is change of direction for people, and whether the angles are so sharp. When you can control those angles and get comfortable, your swing loosens up. When your swing loosens up, your window becomes bigger down the lane. When your window becomes bigger, the option to pull higher scores comes into play. Now on the other side, you're going to have some people maybe with lower rev rates that are able to use some of the real strong balls. So they roll earlier, and they're not changing direction off the back of the pattern, so you can control the break point that way. So there's a number of different options you can go with. You can go with really strong balls, or you can go with your weaker core balls, which are in the core, the makeup of the bowling ball, and the numbers are a little bit different, and that means the change of direction will be a little bit different in a little bit different spot in the lane. So you can do it with cover, you can do it with core. You got to match, as a coach and a player, you have to match the balls to the style of player that you have and what they like to see so that they can bowl well.
Well, certainly many variables and a lot of great knowledge here from Tim Mack. And you see also now, modern times, I guess you guys are kind of spreading the knowledge around a little bit. Of course, you're now with Bermuda, Bill Hoffman and Dale Ballard over with Hong Kong, and just a lot of great coaches making their
Craig
way.
Woodhouse doing a lot of great stuff in Latin America. You got to, right here in front of us on the live stream, he says you've got the Costa Rica jacket right there. He's been a great international coach and he was a great bowler for a long time. So you've got a number of different. The knowledge is spreading, and as you said earlier, we live in an information age. Technology. We live in an information age where technology is at a push of a button. So our world is a lot closer together, and we're able to utilize all this information to help educate the players and make them better. So it works out really well.
Bowling now getting stronger, as a whole. You mentioned the technology, the knowledge. It's all out there, and this live streaming certainly does help. We see it firsthand at the Open Championships, for example. People tune in. I wish it was for the sweet sounds of Matt and Aaron.
Maybe it is. You don't know.
But it's more. They want to see where guys are playing and how they're playing the patterns and what equipment they're throwing, and it's all about gathering that information. All very important, and the accessibility is fantastic, and it's really great to see bowling on the rise across the world here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But man, I got to get going because I got to go get prepared for my second squad. I just want to thank you and all the viewers that tuned in, and hopefully I can get a chance to get back on here with you later in the week.
All right, Tim.
When I have some free moments. So I just want to say thanks and keep doing the great job you guys are doing, and hopefully you'll be talking about us either today or tomorrow. That's the objective.
All right, well, appreciate you joining us,
Thanks,
folks.
partner.
That was international star Tim Mack, now here to coach Bermuda through the rest of the World Championships. And he'll be here all week long and hopefully back on the live stream. As he mentioned, a lot of great information there, valuable input, and firsthand experience not only as a player but now as a coach. So right now you are watching game number 3 of 6 here at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. This is doubles. If you'd like to check out the standings from this doubles event, you can go to worldbowling.org to select the World Championships And you can find that link also underneath your video window here on Bowl TV. And just go to results or online scoring. You can actually see from across the house how everybody's doing. Check on your favorite country's favorite players. And standings again updated through 2 games. Finland on top, 973, an average of 243.25. Both bowlers with 279 games so far, 1 apiece. So that's spreading the responsibility there a little bit. Belgium, you're watching them right now on lane 12. Jerry and John Mark in second place at 895. Malaysia just to our right, 888. In third place, Colombia rounding out the top 4 at 872. So still a long way to noon. And then we'll have the semifinals and the finals. Rest of the week will be trios, team event, and masters. So this is just day 3 of 9 of our coverage here in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for joining us. This is Matt Canizaro alongside Lucas Wiseman. And we'll be here the rest of the day. Again, please enjoy Australia, Costa Rica, Team Belgium, and the Philippines here. Game number 3 of 6. All right, folks, you are watching the end of game number 3 here at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. This is doubles. We've got some excitement down just to the right of us. Big scores. And I'm trying to pull that up on the live scoring to see what lanes will be. Right back with those details in just a minute. All right, so down on lanes 19 and 20. Canada with a big run here. Francois Lavoie, 259. He was -7 coming in, but he is now plus 52. And singles gold medalist Dan McClelland with a big finish. It looks like he's going to be in the 260s this game. So a fantastic game 3 for the Canadians. Again, you can find the live scoring link here on the worldbowling.org website. Watch any bowler across the house. Standings will be updated shortly at the conclusion of game number 3. Also, Lucas Wiseman just came down to let us know that Mike Fagan from Team USA has the front 9. And he's bowling on 25 and 26. Mike just plus 17 through 2 games. His partner today, Bill O'Neill, struggling a little bit. Max score of 189 here for Bill in game number 3, but you can check that out again. Lanes 25 and 26 here at the Khalifa International Bowling Center. Keep you posted on that finish. Lucas Wiseman headed down with his camera to get some video footage. Of Mike Fagan as he finishes game number 3. Again, front 9, check that out. Lanes 25 and 26. Right now you're watching the end of Belgium and the Philippines here on our featured pairs. We are behind lanes 9 through 12 for the duration.
Ja on tosiaan molemmat Arabiemiraatit.
So the crowd behind 25 and 26 slowly walking away. Looks like Mike Fagan was unable to achieve perfection here at the World Championships. Looks like he left a 10-pin. Lucas Wiseman coming back with the details. So we have not seen a 300 yet here at the 2014 event. So 289 for Mr. Fagan. We saw Tommy Jones at 289 in his singles. We saw 297 on our live stream pair early in singles. But speculation is this pattern, the 38-foot Atlanta, might be a little bit higher scoring overall. We certainly will see. We're seeing some good scores so far. Again, Finland in the lead. And they're headed our way, it looks like, here in game number 4. So excited to see what they have to offer here. And we are halfway through this first double squad. We've got 3 squads today, 1 tomorrow. And then we'll cut to the top 4 for the semifinals. And singles out of the way already. Dan McClellan from Canada, the gold medalist, looking to snowball that success here moving forward. And as the week progresses, of course, the excitement level will continue to rise too. Bowlers very much looking forward to bowling as teams rather than individually. And right now, game 4 of doubles coming right up. So we'll have Korea, Belarus, Finland, and not sure who else is coming our way, but we'll be underway in just a minute.
All right, we'll let Matt have a break for a little bit. He's been carrying the load here for the first half of this squad. I'm Lucas Wiseman. Thanks for tuning in. Our live coverage of the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships doubles qualifying Squad 1. Getting ready to start game 4 here. As our leaders, Kimmo Lentinen, who has shot 751 for the first 3 games today. A big total for the lefty from Finland. And look at that. The messenger comes across, takes out the 7 for Kimmo. Jonas Jenkkinen plus 63. So combined, they are significantly over the 200 plus barrier. Sitting at plus 214 is Finland after 3 games. And if you double that, they could end the day as high as plus 400 or better. On pace to be at about plus 426 right now, and that would be a huge total. Both lefties for Finland putting up some good scores early on here. Off to the right of our featured pairs, Dan McClellan and Francois Lavoie of Canada. Dan is plus 111, Francois plus 52, so combined they are plus 163 on the day. Also have Belarus and Korea. Koreans struggling a bit today so far, sitting at just plus 5. Uzbekistan, the other team, on 11 and 12 with Finland. Things not so going so well for Uzbekistan today. You can see their individual totals to the right of their names. If you'd like to send us in a tweet here into the live stream booth, you can use the hashtag 2014WBMC, 2014WBMC. Send us a tweet, and we'll take a look at it and see what you have to say. Jonathan Bryant sending in a tweet, watching the live broadcast in Tennessee on Bowl TV, cheering for the United States. Thanks for watching, Jonathan. If you want to send us a tweet, use the hashtag 2014WBMC. Again, we are in Game 4. Looks like Finland in the lead at 14-14, Canada at 13-63, Malaysia 13-49, and Spain in fourth at 13-06. The United States, fifth place, 12-89, currently boosted by that 289 game by Mike Fagan last game. That's your update on the standings at this stage. Austin Culpepper sending in a tweet wanting to know what kind of equipment you're seeing thrown today, and I can tell you it's a wide variety of equipment. Everything from reactive balls to urethane balls out there on this 38-foot Atlanta pattern. So far today, Finland 493, 480, 441. Kimmo Lentonen with the front three now has bowled 214, 279, 258. 751 start for Kimmo. That is 250.33 average for the first three games today. Two lefties from Finland putting up a big score so far. Put up a big total. They could make it really tough to get around them on these last three squads. Two more squads today, one more squad tomorrow morning in the doubles event here in Abu Dhabi. Tenpin doesn't go for Yankinen. He started off pretty strong, 279, and then has trailed off a bit, 201, 183 the last couple of games. But still, they've put together a nice total, 14-14 for three. This is just our first squad of the doubles event today. Squad number 2 will be coming up a little bit later on this afternoon in about 2.5 hours or so. third squad will be this evening at 6 p.m. local time here in Abu Dhabi. And squad 4 will be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., followed by the medal round tomorrow afternoon. Then we go into trios for 2 days, followed by team for 2 days, and then masters the last day of competition on December 14th. Looks like, excuse me, looks like next game we'll have Team USA's Bill O'Neill, Mike Fagan on the featured pairs. They've been moving closer and closer to us each game. Currently in 5th place. So far, a pretty good start to this game for Finland. They're clean through 5 frames. Have the groundwork set to put together a pretty decent-sized game here if they can string some strikes together, close things out. Kimmo Lentinen putting on a little show for us there as he strikes again, 4 in a row. As we are winding down game 4 of 6 here on our opening squad of the doubles event. Definitely our team to watch on this pairs is Finland. They are the leaders after 3 games. And they can still put up a pretty good total here. They can go 500 plus if they both strike out, or pretty close to it at least. 278, 225, so that would be 503 if they punch out 9th and 10th. That would be a pretty massive score. Kimmo Lentinen carrying the load again this game for Finland is Jonas Jenkkinen struggling a bit. Covers up the spare though. Still has a max score of 205. So they can still shoot 483 this game if they both strike out in the 10th. Should be a pretty solid score. Belarus with a nice 407 on the featured pairs. And Korea putting together a pretty good game, going to be 483 with a strike on the last shot. All right, Kimmo Lentinen of Finland can shoot 278 if he strikes out. Getting ready to bowl his 10th frame right now. Nice shot. Lentinen continuing to pound the pocket with strikes here. In the 260s right now. Another strike will push into the 270s, and the Finns are putting up another big game. They very well could put up a big total that could be tough to beat here in this doubles qualifying. If they keep that momentum going for the last couple of games here, we'll close out this 10th frame first, and keep that momentum for the last couple of games. They could easily get to 400 over. See if Lentinen can get into the 270s here. No love on the 3-pin, and 267 will be his score of this game, but still, he is absolutely destroying this pattern today. It's going to be 218 over for the first 4 games. Massive score for Kimmo. Finland can still get to 472 this game if Jänkänen can strike out here. Gets the first one in the 10. Good max at 205. Canada with another big game this game. Francois and Dan looking at 237 for Francois, 256 for Dan McClellan. Put them at 493, I believe. Good shot, leaves the 10, almost the 710, but it's still going to be 462 with the spare for Finland this game. Game number 5 will be starting shortly. We'll have Team USA's Mike Fagan, Bill O'Neill coming on to the featured pairs. Looks like they are still in the 8th frame down there, so it'll be a few minutes before they make their way down. But 462 for Finland as we round out game 4 of 6 here in our opening squad of qualifying in the doubles event at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. Back in a bit.
All right, folks, we are now watching Game 5 of 6 here in this first double squad at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. This game, Team USA, Denmark, Iceland, and Norway. We'll have updated standings for you momentarily through 4 games. Again, we'll have 3 squads of doubles today, 1 more squad tomorrow, and then we'll cut to the top 4 doubles teams for the semifinals. This is Matt Canizaro alongside Lucas Wiseman, and we'll be here all week long bringing you the action from the Zayed Sports City Khalifa International Bowling Center here in Abu Dhabi. First time Abu Dhabi has hosted the World Championship since 1999. 49 countries represented here by 272 players. And again, if you're just joining us, we'll have singles, doubles, trios, team, and masters competition. Also handing out medals in all events. Singles concluded yesterday. Canada's Dan McClelland was your gold medalist. He topped local favorite Shakir Al Hassan in the championship match. 256-212. Doubles just getting underway this morning. After 6 games, we'll take a break for a re-oil, and we'll have our next squad. We are behind lanes 9 through 12 here in this 40-lane center. Abu Dhabi TV here as well. Live coverage locally. Very sports-friendly town. This Zayed Sports City has a variety of stadiums and training facilities for the country's top athletes. Appreciate everybody joining us here on Bowl TV. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to share those in the chat room. And you also can find us on Twitter. Official hashtag for this week's event, 2014 WBMC. 2014 WBMC. If you'd like to reach out to us individually, you can send me a note at USBC Matt. And you can find me on Facebook as well, Matt Canizaro USBC. If you want to reach out to Lucas Wiseman, it's Lucas_Wiseman on Twitter. Forget to tell all your friends we'll be here for another 10 hours or so today. You know, some folks back home are off to sleep, but that means that somewhere else people are waking up, so make sure to let everybody know. Tune into Bowl TV for the top bowlers in the world. Again, right now, game number 5 of 6. Team USA and Denmark, Iceland, and Norway. We'll have updated standings for you in just a minute. Thanks for tuning in. Lucas Wiseman stopping back by, giving his legendary Lucas Wiseman at Matt Canizaro head shake.
Well, I come over and Matt's taking a selfie of himself, sitting here doing live streaming. So
Well,
figured I'd better come save him.
I gotta have proof. People don't believe me. They say I tuned in, I didn't hear you talk. Like, well, I was there, I promise.
Well, we've only got this game and one more game to go on this squad, so it's the last chance for these bowlers to try to get as much as they can to have a hope to make the top 4 for the medal round as Mike Fagan delivers a strike. Mike plus 121, Bill O'Neill only plus 4 though. Together plus 125 in 4th place. I assume you've already run through the standings, Matt?
Not quite yet.
Finland in the lead by only 20 pins now, even though Finland is rocking and rolling 1876, and Canada right behind them at 1856. So both those teams averaging better than 232. Malaysia 1784, USA 1725, 4th place. Denmark is sitting in 5th place at 1718, Kuwait at 1712. So really outside of the top 2 teams, the scores maybe a little bit lower than we might have expected on this pattern, and we had some thoughts from people who thought the scores were going to be higher today, and so far I think the scores are not that out of control. If your name is not, if you're not from Finland or Canada, I should say.
Well, you certainly you don't want to necessarily call it the guinea pig squad, but a lot of guesses happen on this first squad as far as what equipment is going to work and how the lanes are going to transition with this amount of traffic, and certainly some very talented players out here doing very well, and as Tim Mack alluded to earlier, also a good opportunity to collect information and take some notes with players spread out over the 4 squads. A chance to learn something and improve each squad. Again, anticipated scores would be a little bit higher, and some folks making it look a little bit less challenging, but certainly not an easy pattern by any means. But I think we'll see, as we did in singles, the scores likely to increase as the squads progress and teams pick up more information and make some different decisions along the 6 games. Did have a chance to check out the folks from Finland last game here on our live stream, game 4. And now we get to see a couple of other favorites. Bill O'Neill, Mike Fagan. O'Neill up on lane 9 right now. Defending doubles champs here at the World Championships, John Zerbinski and Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes here this year. Zerbinski not making the trip with Team USA. If you want to check out your favorite players, where they're bowling, when they're bowling, certainly you can do that. Visit worldbowling.org. You can find the link directly under your video feed there. It'll take you right to the page. You can get live scoring throughout the venue, standings.
Well, if O'Neill and Fagan want to make it into the top 4, they are going to need to have a big finish to this squad, and so we'll be able to watch how they do. Fagan with a 2.8 there, but it sure seems like it's going to take a pretty decent number at this point, depending on how Canada and Finland finish up. It could take a pretty sizable number to make the top 4 if those 2 teams put up, 400 plus 400 or better. That could be pretty interesting for the last 3 squads. Once again, you can find the live scoring and the results at worldbowling.org, or you can click the link under the video you're watching here. And don't forget to subscribe to Bowl TV on YouTube. You should see a subscribe button. And if you click that, you can get alerts when we upload some videos if you set it up that way. That way you'll know every time we have a video. If you can't watch all the live streaming, it'll send you an alert when we have the on-demand version available of the live stream. Next squad, going to get started in about an hour and 45 minutes. Here on Bowl TV, there will be a break for re-oil at the end of this squad, and scheduled to start at 1:30 p.m. local time here in Abu Dhabi. Steve Berger sending in a tweet using the hashtag 2014WBMC, says, tweeting at USBC Matt, saying just had a baby and watching the live feed while feeding here in Indiana. Well, congratulations on the new arrival. And it's never too early to have your young ones watching the live streaming, that's for sure. Hopefully a bowling fan in the future. Maybe a future world champion, you never know. Thanks for tuning in, and congrats again on the new arrival. Well, it looks like the scoring pace is slowed down a little bit for Kimmo Lentinen and Jonas Jenkkinen. Kimmo has not thrown a strike in this game and has an open. Only 101 in the 6th, the spare in the 7th. So it's going downhill in a hurry for Finland down there. 113 for Jenkkinen in the 6th. They're going to need to turn it around in the last 3 frames to keep their momentum going. Sitting at 1876 for 4 games. It's 276 over.
Well, as we saw in singles, you just never know. Again, the top 4 after 4 squads will make the semifinals. We almost had all 4 in singles come from the last squad. The only one to hold on was first day leader Tommy Jones, and he ended up maintaining the #1 seed and went on to claim the bronze medal. But possibly again, scores will increase as the days go on. see. But certainly you can't make the top 4 unless you're in the top 4 when your squad's over. So.
But things not going well for Canada either here in this game. Francois Lavoie only 93 in the 7th frame with a spare in the 8th. Has 4 open frames this game. And Dan McClellan with 3 splits for opens, 102 in the 6th, but working on 3 strikes in a row. So our top 2 teams struggling a bit here in Game 5. They put up big totals for the first 4 games, and it looks like they might give some back here to the field this game. Just a few frames to go here in game number 5. Wheels coming off quickly for Canada down on lane 3 as Francois Lavoie 116 in the 9th. So a max score 146. Dan McClellan can shoot 222, but it's going to be a bad game for Canada regardless. And they're going to give a bunch of pins back here in game 5 and really make it much more challenging for them to make it into the medal round, I would say, if they put a bad game up here in game 5. Kimmo Lentinen and Jonas Jankinen are starting to get it together heading into the 10th frame. Kimmo finally put a double on the board, and Jonas with 3 in a row. So they can still shoot 211 and 233. So that would be a good save for them given the way they started this game. And we'll have to wait to see how they finish up. They're down on lanes 35 and 36, and I see that's the most popular pair on the live scoring right now.
Well,
600 people watching on the live scoring.
We saw that same hump in singles. It just got to a point. Again, that was late in Game 3 and Game 4 where it seemed that the transition and the trickiness started to happen. I guess potentially that's what we're seeing here a little bit later on this shorter pattern. But in Game 5, a few folks are starting to struggle. And once they figure out the transition, it looks like maybe get back on track, but should be interesting to see how the coaches and players the rest of the way anticipate what's going to happen and when. And this, if this is the point, then certainly it's an opportunity for maybe a blind move even, or just a guess to try to figure out the right thing. But at least if you know when it's going to happen after seeing it for a squad or two, certainly you can have a better idea of what you need to do.
Well, we've only got less than a game and a half to go. Looks like Francois did strike out for 146, so at least he got the 3 strikes in the 10th. But, man, that's a tough game at this stage of the competition. When you're in second place and rolling along, averaging 232 as a team, a 146 game is really quite difficult. Dan McClellan got the first one in the 10th, but did not strike on his second shot in the 10th. Oh, no, he did not strike on his first shot in the 10th. That was his first shot. So now his max is right about 200, I believe. Let me look at his scoreboard. Yeah, he'll be right around 200 or so.
So many guesses involved, unfortunately. It's one of those things. You can't see your opponent, the oil. So you know it's going to move around. You just don't know where, and sometimes you just have to make a decision and be confident with it. Perhaps that's what Francois did there in the 10th frame and tried something a little bit different and figured something out.
I think a lot of people are maybe kind of surprised by how the bowlers on this squad are struggling a bit, and it could be because it's the first squad on this pattern. We bowled the singles event on the 43-foot Tokyo pattern, so it's completely different now. It's 38-foot Atlanta. It's a different pattern, and they had their official practice session where they got to bowl on both patterns, but official practice is nothing like actual competition, so it's much different, and this is the first group of bowlers coming in to give it a try on this pattern. So a bit of a learning experience. There's a lot of bowlers here watching. I saw Robert Anderson from Sweden walking around with an iPad taking video of the different countries, and I don't think Sweden's on this squad, so maybe just doing some scouting work so that they can do a little, to have a little talk and decide, hey, what's the game plan going to be for, moving forward. Because obviously only 6 games, not a lot of time to really figure things out before you got to start striking a lot. And managing the transition is the key, because you've got to maintain the big scores throughout all 6 games. Otherwise, really difficult to make it into that medal round. And that's what we saw in the singles event. On the 4th squad, they were able to maintain the scoring pace through all 6 games. And as a result, we had 3 of the 4 spots come from that last squad. Give an update on Finland, how they finished up here. 189 for Kimmo Lentonen, his lowest score of the day. 212 for Jonas Jenkkinen. They shoot 401, so they do at least get to +1, but not near the pace that they had been going at for the first 4 games. And I would guess that a lot of the players who are here watching probably a bit relieved to see that, because if they had put up another 460, 470 game and finished with another big game, it was going to be real tough to catch them. So they put up a 401, which is going to be their lowest score of the day, and that's going to keep them from running away with this thing, at least so far. Chad Helton sending in the a tweet to me at Lucas_Wiseman. Says he's watching Bowl TV and Christmas movies in Orlando. Says he works nights. Well, thanks for squeezing Bowl TV into your Christmas movie marathon, Chad. Appreciate it.
Well, Lucas, tuning into Bowl TV certainly is a gift for everybody.
Oh, God. Can I trade you in for a new gift?
I don't think it works that way. I'm the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, boy. All right, moving right along. Bill O'Neill, Mike Fagan on our featured pairs this game. Doing all right, but not exactly lighting up the world this game. Bowlers look a little frustrated this morning.
Well, we've certainly seen a variety of equipment and styles in attacking this 38-foot pattern. So, of course, the choice of equipment and how you choose to play them will affect those folks who come to your lanes later on. So again, maybe as the squads progress and the coaches and players have a better idea of how they want to attack the patterns, again, the scores will go up. But I think there's a lot of different choices and experiments earlier today that possibly affected the scoring pace later in the day. But one more game to go, and then we'll get ready to re-oil and prepare for our second squad of doubles today. All results and the average per game also can be found live at worldbowling.org, so check that out.
And we updated you on Finland and Canada this game. Malaysia, they were in third place. Safiq Ridwan struggling, 110 in the 7th, spare in the 8th. Seems like a common theme amongst the leaders, struggling a bit. But Alex Liu, he's bowling pretty good, 178 in the 7th. But Safiq can only strike out for 190. Alex can still strike out for 268 or 258, so they can still put together a decent game in comparison to the teams that were above them for sure. And then Team USA in 4th place. O'Neill and Fagan still have 2 frames to go, can shoot 226 and 219, so they can pick up some ground on the teams that are ahead of them. Both Malaysia and the US can gain ground on 1st and 2nd place. Denmark, 5th place, right on our featured pairs as well. They can shoot 215, 225 if they punch out. So not exactly a high-scoring game either, but it would be a decent game given the circumstances. So you always wonder when the transition's going to hit or when the scores might go down. And today, Game 5 seems to be the game, because Game 4 was the highest scoring game for the field by 9 pins. The field averaged 206.91 in Game 4, and I'm going to guess that number is going to come down a little bit this game.
Oh, and Lucas, that's something that we've seen on this ice oil. It's only been out for a couple of years now, and we see it day in and day out at the Open Championships, and we watch a lot of games, but the transition happens later. It happens slower, but when it happens, it's not a gradual. It's like falling off a cliff, really, and it requires not just small, gradual moves, but at that point, a great big move. And again, it's studying, it's being able to figure out when that's going to happen and make the right guess at the right time. And clearly, it's going to happen early in Game 5, later in Game 5, and at that point, not just a couple boards, but make a big move and be the one who survives.
Score's definitely a bit on the lower side this game. I'll give you an update on how Malaysia finishes up once they close out this game. We do know that Canada finished with 346 and Finland 401. Bill O'Neill can max at 234 this game. Mike Fagan can still shoot 219. And that would help them gain ground on the top two teams. Still waiting to see the final score for Malaysia down on lane 30. O'Neill with a double in the 10th. It's going to be one of his better games of the day. He had 235 his first game, and 172, 176, 221, and now he'll be at 234 with another strike. So 233, Bill O'Neill. Safiq Ridwan, 166 for Malaysia. Alex Liu can still shoot 258. But they are not going to put up a big total either. So definitely the distance between first and fourth is going to narrow this game a little bit. Fagan trips out the 9 for the strike and a double. Gets him into positive territory this game. I think Finland's still going to be in the lead, but not by as wide of a margin. Or they may actually increase their lead a little bit, but not. It's going to narrow things in terms of the top four pretty considerably, as the teams third and fourth are going to make up a little ground, potentially. Fagan with a 10 pin. So, oh no, it did strike. He walked in front of me. I couldn't see the messenger. Must have been a messenger came across.
He ran it out, got the scout, got it done. So he'll be in the two teens here.
Yeah, so they're going to be at 452. So they'll pick up 51 pins on Finland. And they were 151 back. So they'll close to within 100 pins of Finland with a game to go. That just shows you how well Finland has bowled so far today. So 452 for the United States here on the featured pair, 409 for Denmark.
Lucas, now we have a little bit of a treat coming up here in Game 6. Shogo Wada, live stream average 297.
And by the way, Malaysia 404 is what they finished up with. Yeah, Shogo on this very pair bowled 297 2 days ago in the singles event.
Just missed the top 4.
Yep.
Was the number going into the last game there. And just got bumped out, but shot 297 here on the live stream early in singles. See if he can improve here.
Last game, we've got a couple of pacers on 9 and 10, along with the UAE. And over on 11 and 12, Czech Republic and Japan to close things out. Should get updated standings pretty soon. Looks like everybody's done with game 5, so shouldn't take too long to get those standings in. I'll let you know as soon as we see them. And it looks like we do have the update now. Finland first at 22.77. Canada still in second place at 22.02. Malaysia is still third, 21.88, and the United States is still fourth at 21.77. But the distance between the teams is only 100 pins now between first and fourth. But Finland still has a 75-pin lead on the field, so they actually do increase their lead on the field despite bowling their lowest game of the day. That being said, there's still 3 squads to come, so it's not just about beating the teams on your squad, although that's a big part of it. You need to put up a big enough score so that it's going to make it into the top 4. And so now the real push is on here in this last game for these teams to get as much as they can in this final game. Denmark 5th at 21.27. UAE, who's on the featured pairs this game, is in 6th place at 21-15. And as I expected, the average score for the field in Game 5 went down significantly. Game 4 was 206.91, Game 5 191.91, a full 15 pins lower. Field average in Game 5 from Game 4. That is a big, big drop. And the lowest game of the 5 by 2.5 pins. It went up from Game 1 to Game 2 to Game 3 to Game 4, and then it just bottomed out in Game number 5. Only about 7 frames to go here, 8 frames to go on our first squad of the doubles event. Next squad starts in about an hour and 15 minutes. Finland is on 31 and 32 if you're following on the live scoring. And lane 31 is where Finland is this game. And if you look at the results on the official website, you can also tell what pair they are on. It tells you the lane, their next lane. Finland sitting at 277 over for the first 5 games. And the way things started, I thought they were going to have a chance to get to 400 over, which would have been a pretty massive score in the doubles event, but it does not work out that way. Unless they can somehow bowl 523 this game. I guess it's possible. Four doubles early on in this game for Finland. I should say early, halfway through. So if they can make some magic happen in game 6, you could have a nice lead on the field after this squad, and then have to hope they can hold on to make it into the finals. Or I should say the semifinals. Yeah, they are on lane 31. Canada is on lane 33, but it's once again going disastrously for Canada this game. It's going to be another bad game for Canada. They're still in second place, but the way things are going, I would guess that that's going to go probably not in the right direction for them. They may drop down in the standings because Malaysia's bowling on the same pair as them, and Malaysia's already made up the ground on Canada that they were trailing by. They were only down by, let's see, 14 pins, and they've made up that plus a bunch. Probably made up more than 70 pins this game already. So at this moment, Malaysia has moved into second on the squad. Not exactly a great start for the United States this game. They are not bowling poorly, but they only got one double through 5 frames. Kimo Lentinen just missed a single pin in the 6th frame. It's going to hurt them a little bit. Certainly kills the momentum. Jonas Yankinen followed it up with a strike, though. Malaysia's starting to put some strikes together. They could make a run at the top spot if Finland falters a bit. Well, Malaysia 89 pins behind Finland. That's a lot to make up in one game. So we're just waiting to finish up Game 6 and get an idea of what the standings are going to look like at the end of this squad. Finland on 31, working on a couple of spares now. Max out 236, 238 this game if they strike out 8th, 9th, 10th. Gary Verbruggen of Belgium has the front 8 on lane 32. Something to keep an eye on. Bowling on the same pair as Finland. Gary with plus 143 today. Pretty good score. He strikes out for 300 to get him to plus 243 for the day for Belgium. But fortunately, Jean-Marc Samain of Belgium only minus 71. So Gary Verbruggen, a longtime player for Belgium's national team. He won the singles in Abu Dhabi here in 1999 in the World Championships, making his return here 15 years later, and has the front 8. We'll let you know how he finishes up. Looks like Verbruggen 9 spare in the 9th, so will not be bowling a 300 game in this game. But a good run nonetheless, and he's having a great day, so he's going to put up a good total, help him in the all events. Malaysia's turning it up a notch here. They could put up a big game here. 279 and 240 is what Malaysia can max out with a frame and a half to go. They're sitting at 188 over after 5 games. Could put them in position to maybe lead the squad, depending on how Finland finishes up. Given the finish that Canada's having, it looks pretty unlikely that they're going to make the medal round. And second place coming into this game, but they can just barely shoot 400 even if they strike out in the 10th. O'Neill and Fagan starting to turn it up a little bit at the end of this game. They can shoot 268, 245, so they can get to 100 over this game. But if they end up third on the squad, I'm not sure I like their chances to make it into the finals. Medal round, I should say. Kimmo Lentonen struck out for 225. Jonas Jenkkinen can strike out for 238. So they can get to 463 this game. That would push their total to plus 340. Plus 340 is a good score if they can get there. To see how Malaysia finishes. Alex Liu missed a single pin in the 9th frame, though, so that is bad news for the Malaysian effort. Waiting for the update to come in on the scores from the higher end of the bowling center. We'll let you know what Finland ends up shooting. Next squad scheduled to start in about 50 minutes. This one going a little bit long. Maybe a little bit behind schedule for the next squad. Should be pretty close though. Finland finishes with 452. Puts them at 27-29 for the 6 games. Team USA going to be at 491, looks like. And we'll put them at 2668. Canada finishes with 346 that game. So they really lost it the last 2 games. I guess Alex Liu made that single pin because they corrected the score. So I said he missed it, but turns out he did not miss it. He made it. So we're done on our featured pairs. We should know the standings here in just a moment. So we'll wait for the final update to come in before we go off air on the live scoring. Malaysia finishes at 474. So it looks like it's going to be Finland leading the squad at 27-29, the United States in second at 26-67, Malaysia third at 26-62, and Korea moves into fourth place at 25-84. Unofficially, of course, Finland, USA, Malaysia, Korea, your top 4 on this squad. Official standings will be available on worldbowling.org in just a few minutes. We're going to go off air, but we'll be back with you with the start of the next squad in about 50 minutes or so.